good segue there. I actually have two more questions. I lied.
Sure.
I had three. I thought it was two.
Hey, I'm here. We're fine.
Okay, so you are in Las Vegas. You are about an hour, I would say an hour, 15-minute flight from Phoenix. Is that about right?
Yeah.
So in Phoenix, over the summer in August, Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley, who's no longer with our this election season, they went to Netroots Nation, and they were confronted with Black Lives Matter. And it was important. It was an important turning point for Senator Sanders, because immediately after that, he began to piece together a very coherent strategy in terms of criminal justice reforms, addressing police brutality, and all of those things. Seeing as you're so close to Phoenix, where it really was the flashpoint for Black Lives Matter in this campaign, I can't let you off without asking you, where do you stand in terms of Black Lives Matter? Do you feel it's okay to say Black Lives Matter without any type of hesitation? Do you feel like there's a legitimate grievances that are going on? Just spill your guts on Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter, like that. You hear the all lives matter, blue lives matter when it comes to. No one is disputing that. What we're saying is, unfortunately, Black lives in America, it's not always great, and it's not always safe. And, so yes, it sprung up with police violence, but this dates back for as long as we've been a country. Black lives haven't mattered to a large swath of people in this country. And, so yeah, at this time, yes, absolutely. Black lives matter. We oftentimes miss, when we talk in slogans or we sometimes miss what it really means. And what it really means is that as a Caucasian male, if I get pulled over by a police officer, I don't have the fear that if I talk the wrong way, if I say the wrong thing, I'm having a bad day and I might have an attitude. I'm not as concerned that I'm going to be shot and killed by a police officer for that reason as it happens to so many young Black men in this country. That is a disgrace. And so what we need to do when we talk about Black Lives Matter, people need to understand that we're not saying above, we're not saying all, we're saying equal. We're talking about equality. We're not trying to raise or put anybody here or there. We're trying to make everybody equal. But until Black lives are equal, until Black lives do matter, we need to fight for that. And we need to understand that. And so when it comes to Bernie Sanders alluded to criminal justice reform, police official, they need to start looking like their community. They need, if they're policing a community and it's, 60% Black and 20% Hispanic, that's how the police force needs to look.
Right.
And we need to do a better job of that. In Ferguson was a perfect example. They had a lot of officers that were dismissed from other precincts that were kicked out for brutality or whatever the case may be. And then they were thrown into a predominantly Black city and said, police this. Well, first of all, that's not how you build a community. And a community does encompass a police force. A police force is only as good as their relationship with the community. And once you break that, crime rates go up, cooperation goes down, and what you have is, whether it's unsafe situations for the citizens, it'll also be unsafe for the police officers if nobody trusts them. And when it comes to criminal justice reform, just real quick on that, I did a video about that, and it was my first campaign video. It's important that we need to reform our criminal justice system, and I came up with a 4-part plan to do so. It's real quick, and we need to end the war on drugs. It's predominantly affected Black and Hispanic men and women in this country, and that's a huge problem. We need to end the war on drugs. It was a disaster when it started, and it failed the moment that it was started. Second, we need to legalize marijuana. We need that has to happen. Nobody's life should be ruined by spending their life in prison because of the fact that they got caught with a joint or they smoke weed. It's not the end of the world, and we need to start legalizing it because it's a recreational drug. It has less side effects than alcohol and cigarettes. So there's no reason that. Third, we need to provide drug treatment for the harder drugs, meth, cocaine, that needs to happen. And drug treatment is very important when we talk about reforming our justice system in this country, because first of all, it works. Second of all, it saves money. And, if we want to reduce recidivism, we need to start treating real hardcore drug users and start acknowledging the fact that it's a disease. It's not somebody going out and wanting to break the law. It's a disease. You get an addiction, that's a disease. And fourth, we need to end for-profit prisons. That has been one of the most brutal things on most of our communities. When you have a private prison lobby that is able to write some of the drug sentencing laws in a lot of cases, because when you look at the contract that they have with some of the states, where it has 100% capacity in their contract, so the city or the state has to have 100% capacity, or they have to pay the prisons the difference, in the money. That's a huge deal.
That's the biggest conflict of interest ever known.
Yeah.
And not only an abdication of duty by, I hate to cut you off, but you just struck me, man. Not only is it an abdication of duty of our federal government and our state government and our local government to protect and imprison, right? To do their job. They should be the only ones with that ability. But it's a conflict of interest because now these contracts say if our beds aren't filled, you have to pay us this extra money. So there is an incentive in this private policing and the for-profit policing for them to fill up these beds. That's absolutely completely antithetical to their job description. Alex, thank you so much for bringing that last one up, man. That one,
absolutely.
That one is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to finish by saying, the more you look at these contracts, the more sick it makes you. And that's my 4-part plan. And there's certainly more that needs to go in to make sure that we reform the justice system. But I think that would be a great start to make sure that we actually move forward on that issue.
Alex, I've got 60 seconds for you, and I have 2 things that I need you to do.